We wish to make clear that Mohammed Iqbal is in fact a councillor. He's not an MP, not a member of this group. Rather, Iqbal Mohammed is a member of the Independence Alliance group of MPs and did not make such comments. We want to apologise for this error and any confusion that was caused.
More embarrassment in the lefty media this week, Connor Tomlinson. Sly News got their Iqbals and their Mohammeds mixed up, as you do. Watch.
We wanted to clarify something discussed on last night's programme. During an interview with Jeremy Corbyn, we talked about the Independence Alliance group of MPs, and I made a reference to one of its members, Mohammed Iqbal, as having been previously suspended by the Labour Party for allegedly making anti-Semitic comments in a meeting. We wish to make clear that Mohammed Iqbal is in fact a councillor. He's not an MP, not a member of this group. Rather, Iqbal Mohammed is a member of the Independence Alliance group of MPs and did not make such comments. We want to apologise for this error and any confusion that was caused.
And Iqbal Mohammed posted on X after that, I note the on-air apology from Sky News for its false allegations against me for alleged anti-Semitism on live TV. I will never stop speaking up against genocide, war crimes and for the rights of the Palestinian people. Our UK mainstream media must do better. I mean, the irony here, Connor Tomlinson, is they could have just said the guy who believes in first cousin marriages, right?
Oh, I'm so glad that we have to have this debate, Dan. It's one of the benefits of diversity. Yeah, I too am confused of how Sky News could have gotten mixed up with such a good British name as Iqbal Mohammed. I mean, I will say, at least he got better than I got when they decided to lie about me live on air when talking to Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt. No, it was only Jeremy Hunt, I think, with Sky News, when I had a chat with Liz Truss, because they made some rather mendacious comments about, misogynistic things being brought up in the interview when it was conducted by someone completely different. And then I never even got a retraction properly. So at least he gets an apology for not having been suspended from the Labour Party. As far as anti-Semitic comments, though, I mean, I'm not Jewish. I've never been to Israel. I don't have skin in the game beyond having some Jewish friends whose well-being I would like to see assured. But I would think that supporting exclusively Palestine and Gaza, which has been under the jurisdiction of Hamas, in whose charter they reference the hadith that says that Judgment Day will come and Allah will animate the rocks and the trees to come alive to announce where Jews are hiding so you can come and kill them. I would think that counts as an anti-Semitic comment, wouldn't you? And yet again, I'm so glad that we have to have this debate because successive governments, Labour and Conservative, have insisted on importing tribal sectarianism from the Middle East and Africa to a land which was green, clean, pleasant and peaceful for at least a few decades before they all showed up. So I would rather that we didn't have sectarian Islamic politics that required clarification because we kept mixing up our Mohammeds.
One other moment for you, Connor, to have a look at. Luke Campbell, he is one of the Reform UK mayoral candidates. And he has posted on X that it's unfortunate that a local primary school removed my name from one of its houses. But my focus remains clear, delivering real results for everyone who lives in Hull and East Yorkshire. If elected mayor on May the 1st, that's exactly what I will do. He was asked about this in a interview on the British Bashing Corporation. What?
Luke, what's your reaction to this story?
I'm in the world of politics. Do I think it was probably unwarranted? Probably. But there's been so much positivity, you've got to take the little bits of negativity as well. But nothing's going to change. I've still got my priorities that I need to focus on. And I'm ready to stand up for my community and back the people of Hull and East Yorkshire.
So you'd say that it's their school policy. Do you accept that then?
I don't think it's for me whether to accept it or not. I just feel like I'm going to continue in this mayoral election, and I want to stand for the people and put my community first. And if you get the odd little bumps on the way, you just got to take it on the chin and keep moving forward. There's a much bigger picture ahead.
Because of course he was a boxer, a top boxer, Connor, and all of a sudden the school is embarrassed the moment he runs for Reform UK. I'd be very surprised, Connor, if they did that to a lefty candidate.
Yeah, I don't think that you're going to have various left-wing patrons of public institutions' names scrubbed. I mean, the best one, for example, there was a park somewhere that was going to rename itself Diane Abbott Park. Now, bear in mind, Diane Abbott sat on the BBC once and said that Chairman Mao, the dictator of communist China, who had 100 million people killed in his Cultural Revolution and the ensuing Great Famines when he declared war against nature and killed off all the sparrows, she said that Chairman Mao, on the whole, did more good than harm. So the idea that we should be using her name on anything, as if Diane Abbott has achieved anything than being unable to find out a left and a right shoe. The idea that we should be accepting these people while scrubbing the likes of Luke Campbell, who has, as far as we know, done nothing wrong other than stand for reform, which is softening its stances on everything anyway. Yeah, it's absurd. But it's never about hypocrisy. It's always about hierarchy. All they want to do is scrub the names of anyone mildly respectable from public institutions or of historical note, so they can wage their revolution against everything good about civilization unopposed.
And the British Batting Corporation there are actually just giving Luke Campbell some very good local publicity, I would argue. But first, you know I never recommend anything unless I truly believe in it. And today I've got something absolutely game-changing for you. Have you ever stopped to think about how crucial comfort is, especially down there? Well, let me tell you, today's Outspoken is proudly sponsored by Sheath Underwear, the revolutionary brand shaking up men's comfort across the globe. And here's what makes it even better. Sheath was founded by a brilliant US Army veteran, Robert Patton, while he was serving in Iraq back in 2007. So that's right, this isn't just an underwear brand. It was designed for the toughest conditions imaginable. Patton was battling relentless heat and discomfort in full combat gear, and he thought there has to be a better way. And there is, because he created it. Let's be honest, traditional underwear just doesn't cut it anymore. Sheath's innovative dual pouch design ensures your comfort all day long, keeping things separate, cool and fresh. Imagine your essentials being comfortably cradled away from unwanted friction and heat. Trust me, it is a genuinely transformative product. I have tested it at the gym, on long days at work, and I'm telling you, once you've experienced Sheath, there simply is no turning back. They're stylish, they're supported, and they deliver unmatched comfort. It's like upgrading from economy to first class, but for your underwear. So right now, I'm offering you a 20% discount. It is exclusive at sheath.com. So 20% off your entire order. All you have to do is use my special promo code Outspoken at checkout. Sheath is the perfect present, by the way, if you're looking for something for your husband, your son, your brother, or hard to buy for mates. But if you are a lady and you end up on the website, you will see there are female versions available too. This is really cool as well. Sheath, did you know, was the first official underwear of the UFC. So you can go to sheath.com or just click on the link below, enter Outspoken on checkout, and then you can thank me later when you're feeling comfortable, confident, and ready to tackle anything your day throws at you. Sheath underwear, redefining comfort one pair at a time. But now, back to the show. Rachel from Accounts has had the most disastrous week. Her time as Chancellor of the Exchequer is nearly over. We all know it. The woman is not up to the job. But if you've been tuning into the mainstream media, who have given her kid glove coverage over the past week, you'd think she was some type of hero. As Alex Armstrong posted, I know you've taken a lot of flack for taking free Sabrina Carpenter tickets, but what's your favourite song? Is this the kind of questioning we now give the Chancellor after an emergency budget? Imagine the outrage if this question was asked to Liz Truss. And I promise you, that did happen. It was by this bloke. Now, I see him popping up at the moment, and I just keep thinking, get a haircut, mate. No idea who he is. Woke ITV has clearly decided that they need another mega lefty on the books. And this was his cringeworthy interview with Rachel from Accounts about Sabrina Carpenter. We'll get analysis from Connor Tomlinson in just one moment. But first, Connor, let's watch this together.
You're taking a bit of flack for accepting Sabrina Carpenter tickets, but what's your favourite Sabrina Carpenter song?
Well, look, I've got to tell you, Sabrina Carpenter, I mean, she's great, but I am a 46-year-old woman. So I think it probably will come no surprise that it was another family member of mine who was more of the Sabrina Carpenter fan. And look, in the job that I'm doing now, it is harder to do some of those normal everyday things. Now, don't get me wrong, this job is a privilege of my life, but I do now have security and just doing things like, you know, going to a pop concert, which I'd love to be able to do with my my kids. I just can't do that in the way that I could before. So I did take tickets to be in a box. I felt that was the right thing to do for, you know, the security needs that I've got now. I know that for some people that will look weird. I totally get that. But I do want to carry on doing the things that normal parents do with their kids, and that gave me the opportunity to do that. I did enjoy the song, so please, please, please.
Great. Thank you very much, Chancellor.
Giggle, giggle, giggle. Connor, and I mean, Alex Armstrong makes such a fair point. You would just never, ever see that type of soft touch coverage if you were dealing with a Conservative minister, if you were dealing with a member of Reform UK, but we see it every day. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Connor, especially with the female Labour front benches. Anytime Angela Rayner, Rachel from Accounts, Jess Phillips, Shabnam Mahmood sit down for a mainstream media interview, they're treated, I would argue, more like a celebrity than a leading politician.
Yeah, to answer the question, it's either espresso or taste as a toss-up for me. But anyway, point being, look,
And she is
Rachel
lovely.
Reeves,
We love Sabrina Carpenter. We'll have a look at her.
I'm a bit of a not so closet fan, I will admit. Rachel Reeves has got absolutely no right to take in-kind contributions in terms of Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter tickets or the free clothes as donated by Lord Ali before, when she is rubbishing the economy for everyone else. She, in her insufferable nasal tone, decided to say that they're not raising taxes on working people whilst also levying was it £25 billion increase on employer-side national insurance contributions, which the CPI say is going to cause 25% of firms to do redundancies. It's going to cause economic shrinkage. The OBR think that unemployment's going to go to 4.5%, and we know that OBR estimations are usually wrong and undercount by a factor of 3 to 4 if we're looking at migration. So who knows how bad it's going to be. Growth in less than 6 months has halved projections from 2% to 1%. They've done, yeah, sure, £5 billion worth of cuts a year to welfare to stop brand new BMWs being bought by people with some flaky ADHD diagnoses, but they've done double that in unexpected, unaccounted for borrowing. And instead of, I don't know, do things like cut down on the amount spent every year on illegal migrant hotels. It was 14.4 billion in 2023, and it's going to go up under Yvette Cooper to 32.7 billion, by the way. Instead of doing that, they're initiating a Marxist grave-robbing tax on family farms, sabotaging our food security for a pure land grab and sort of socialist resentment ploy, I assume. So a lot of this, the thing that really stings, isn't just the sort of patronizing delivery, the sort of wink and a nod that's being delivered with these softball questions by the establishment press, but it's that they're robbing the country blind. They are imposing the highest energy costs in the developed world on us, all while banning legislation that prevents Chinese slave labor from being used in the solar panels that Mad Ed Miliband is going to fix the roofs of schools and hospitals, even though we get less sunshine than Russia. You know, they're destroying our energy security, they're dilapidating our economy, and they're laughing it up in expensive pop concert boxes while they do it. So that's the real insult.
There was a slightly edgier confrontation between Rachel from Accounts and Nick Ferrari on LBC, or as I now call it, the Labour Broadcasting Company, but he still used the opportunity to drop in some Carpenter lyrics. Watch.
Assuming you've had your morning espresso, I wonder if I could please ask you a question about your musical taste. If you were to be asked to get tickets for Billie Eilish later this year at the O2, would you do it again?
I'm not a huge fan of any of these pop bands, but look, I went with a member of my family.
If you were to go and see Billie Eilish, would you this time pay for the tickets yourself, Chancellor?
Well, look, a lot of change since the election. It's the privilege of my life to do this job, but I now have security that I can't just sit in a normal tickets in
No,
a
I
pop concert.
appreciate that, and I wouldn't
so,
want that. And we don't want you in the mosh pit. That would be utterly ludicrous. My question again is, you must go with security. Would you pay for the tickets yourself to watch the show?
I will obviously think again about, taking those tickets. But I was in a position where I was advised that it should be in a box.
No, I agree. I agree. It's not safe. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and the owners said that there were tickets that were not available for sale, but they're used for these sorts of purposes,
Chancellor,
so that's why I did that.
I've benefited from that. You simply say to the organiser, right, there are 10 people here, the boxes cost £2,500, I better give you 250 quid. So I say again, lastly, if you're asked to go to Billie Eilish, I don't want to be a bad guy here, but when the party's over, would you ask how much the tickets cost?
I've declared, the sort of the notional value of those tickets. Look, I understand how this seems to people. My circumstances are a bit different, but obviously, I will think carefully about any hospitality that I take, and whether that seemed to be any type of conflict of interest, for example, because I do understand public perceptions. I want to be a good mum and a good politician. I try and get the balance right.
But she missed the point, didn't she, Connor? Because the point that Nick Ferrari was making there is that you could take the tickets, but you could still donate the equivalent amount of money. I mean, maybe we should be happy that we've got such a tight Chancellor. If only she was so tight with our money.
Yes, yeah, it's always the Margaret Thatcher line of eventually socialists run out of spending other people's money. I will say if she does have a spare pair of free Billie Eilish tickets to hand, I would have asked her to donate them to me, but after the last album, I'm not so sure. As for her being a good politician, well, I can't speak to her skills as a mother. It might be better than Angela Rayner's, given that she raised a son that's now gone on to do OnlyFans. But as far as being a good politician, she won't probably last till the end of the year, because she's completely sabotaged the economy. We have now got one of the worst sort of GDP per capita falling rates. I mean, it's completely stagnated since 2008 financial crash. But in terms of real GDP compared to pre-pandemic, we are the second worst in the G7. We're only above Germany because Germany has gone into the negatives because during and preceding the entire Ukraine war, where they've been giving more subsidies to Russia for their gas than they've actually been giving to Ukraine in aid, they decided to systematically dismantle their nuclear plants and then thought it would be just tickety-boo, how brilliant that was. And then for some reason, she was handed an economy where we're the fastest growing in the G7. And in the final quarter of last year, growth shrank to 0.1%. I mean, in the 80s, it was a bit of a scandal if you got anything less than 3%. So the entire thing is running on fumes. They won't reassess their migration policy. They definitely won't reassess net zero, even though even the likes of the Conservative Party under Kemi Badenoch have realised, oh, there's a bit of a carcinogenic effect of choosing all our steel plants, cementing our gas wells, and asking the Chinese to make us wind turbines that break with the slightest bit of breeze. Labour will not reassess any of their disastrous policies. They'll continue inflicting misery on us and probably keep going to bread and circus for free while they do so.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.